Hey everyone, Ice McFall here, and welcome to another episode of Raspberry Flavored, where I want to update you a little bit on the ore factory, because just like what I did with the original factory over there, I ended last episode with kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. I didn't actually build anything in the interior, so now I've actually gone ahead and put the ore automation back into the factory after having to, tear all of it down, and I'm doing it in a little bit different of a way than I was before. So now what I have is these drawers are actually coming out to this block here, because what I want to do now is just have the drawers be like this, and that way when you're walking through here, you're not actually seeing any of the create stuff. It's all just drawers that you're going to be seeing, because I'm going to have the drawers be this whole wall and not just these four. Drawers are expensive, okay? And they're just annoying to make. They're not like super expensive, it's just the fact that you need to make them in a mechanical crafter and you have to press down all the iron for it. It's a little annoying, okay? But then, since I'm not going to be able to just walk back here, what I've done is I've repurposed the pillars here to actually be doorways so you can, get to the back. And as you can see, I have made the actual create stuff look so much more organized, and it just looks better compared to what it used to look like. I have everything like really aligned pretty well. I tried to make it look pretty neat, and I think it's gone pretty well. I have installed the elevator completely, so this is what we got here. If I go to the second floor, I can show you the create stuff from the glass up here. And these are glass trap doors, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last episode. It's kind of funny, but they had to be trap doors. That's like, it works well. That's how I can get like those little glass slab kind of thing. So that's what I went with. And I will mention that back here, I still have this terraforming I need to do, so I'm going to try to work on that. I don't know if I'm going to get it done by the end of this episode or not, but that's something I want to work on. But yeah, what I want to actually do today is actually build another building here, like I've been wanting to do. A building that is going to stand opposite of the ore factory, because right now we have the old factory right there and we have the ore factory. I want something here. It's going to, so you know how we have the lava down here? We have the infinite lava source, and we have to come down here and we have to get lava out of the basin that it gets sent to. Well, I want to have something here, and it's going to be where we collect our lava, but I also want it to not just have the purpose of just where we collect our lava. I want it to be where we craft dimensional tiers, because if you don't know, dimensional tiers are something that teleport you to your spawn point whenever you drink them. So they're very useful. I use them all the time. I don't think they're really necessary to completely automate, but they have a little bit of an annoying recipe here. So what I want to do is just be able to drop in all of the ingredients, and then it'll just make us a bunch of the dimensional tiers liquid here, or the fluid, whatever. And that way we can have that in basins as well, along with lava. And then we could just take our bottles and just right click the dimensional tiers basin to get dimensional tiers, or we can take a bucket and right click the lava basin to get lava. So yeah, I think it'll be pretty cool, like a lava dimensional tiers building here. So that's what I'm gonna work on. I'm gonna do something similar to how I've made these two buildings. I'm gonna go ahead and hop into my creative world and design this build. Like, I built the tower there and the house without building it in a creative world first. They're okay, but you guys saw what the old ore factory looked like, and it was not great. So yeah, we're gonna do this in my creative world first, and I'll see you guys when I have the whole schematic ready, and I'll surprise you with the whole build. I'll probably be doing a voiceover, so yeah, see you there. I'm going to mention that it took me a lot of time to get a build that I was happy with. I initially planned to make a sort of tower, so it wasn't going to look like just, a normal building. It was going to be it's going to be a tower. I just couldn't get something to look right. I have a little bit of an idea of what I could do now about it, but yeah, I just couldn't figure it out. I was trying to make like a circular tower at first, but I ended up coming up with this after like the day after. Took a while, and it looks more like a house, but it does resemble the ore factory, and I really like the colored glass that I have in it as well. But yeah, that's about it. Alright guys, so the top 2 floors are completed. Yeah, there's going to be a basement, and it's not in yet. I didn't put it on the schematic because I wasn't sure if it was going to interfere with what I have under the the grass here. As you can see, we actually have two buildings facing across each other in front of the old factory there. So that's pretty cool. And I put in polished deep slate buttons here. um, so yeah, this grass, that's where there's gonna be some staircases. And then we have these basins. We're gonna have one basin for lava and one basin for dimensional tiers. And then up this iron ladder, we have just some barrels for storage. And then we have another balcony. I will mention what I want in the basement is to have a nether portal because we currently don't have a nether portal in this area. And I also want an area where we can supply materials to craft dimensional tiers. Yeah, let's go ahead and get to building this basement. I will update you guys when I am done with that. All right, so I've actually gone ahead and I've built the basement pretty much. Now I do have this obsidian already here. I'm gonna go ahead and finish off building the nether portal here. Also, look, we got our train there. This was the whole reason I wasn't too sure how this basement was gonna work out. It's like right above where the train goes. I think if this was just a little lower, the train would actually clip through. But if you don't remember, I have mentioned that I am going to be moving the train tracks to be going in like that direction rather than this direction. So it's not really a big deal with the train. I just didn't know if it was going to like go into the lava or anything, like, you know, and I'm going to be using this space right here for the kind of automation part of this, which is going to be crafting the dimensional tiers and stuff. But anyway, there's our nether portal. Let's go. We've got our nether portal. So I'm thinking I want to have a barrel or some sort like right here, and then it'll automatically take the items from the barrel and supply it into the resources that we need to craft the dimensional tiers. So I'll drop in some lead, and I would want it to just automatically melt the lead into molten lead. I just want to be able to open the barrel and just dump all of this into the barrel, and then we'll just see dimensional tiers start filling up. So yeah, let's go ahead and start working on the automation part of this. Okay guys, it's been a few days since my last clip. Let's see if this works. I just went ahead and tried to finish up the dimensional tiers crafting. It was quite a bit of work, I won't lie. Hopefully it's actually working pretty well. But as you can see, we got our lava in here as well, and it should be, yep, coming back. So we've actually finished that. So now instead of having to go all the way down underground to grab lava, we just go into this building and then right there. Now I do want dimensional tiers to be in this basin, so I'm gonna go ahead and test it out. In fact, I don't know if I'm gonna have all the materials I need, but basically I'm gonna, okay, that might need to be blocked off, I don't know, but basically I just need to put in the materials required for dimensional tiers in here. So if we pull up dimensional tiers, what I need is 3 powdered obsidian, exo pearl, and we just need lead. So I'm going to go ahead and grab those few things, and we're going to go ahead and toss them into this barrel. Alright, so I've went and grabbed my materials. What I'm going to use is a block of lead, which is actually going to make 4 bottles of dimensional tiers. So then I've gone ahead and got 4 exo pearls and 12 powdered obsidian because, you know, we're just going to make 4 dimensional tiers. We also have a blaze tart and coal, and that's to power the blaze burners that go into this. But I probably do want to figure out a solution to make it so it doesn't like constantly fuel the blaze burners with the coal and blaze tarts, even when it's not crafting anything. We're just going to go ahead and toss the stuff in. Got the exo pearls, we got the powdered obsidian, block of lead, and I'm going to let all of this go through before I toss in the coal and the blaze tart. And theoretically, I just saw something ignite. That should start working. And if we look in here, we've got molten lead. Okay. Well, that's not exactly what I wanted. So it was going to be a surprise if this worked first try though. It really was. You know what? It might be because this needs to be a smart pipe. Yeah, because the molten lead went to make the dimensional tiers, and then it just got sucked out by this pipe. So let me make this a smart pipe real quick. I'm hoping filtering it with the dimensional tiers bottle is actually going to be what works. But yeah, now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to go ahead, grab the molten lead that it gave me earlier, and put it back into here so it gets sucked out. And then It might be making the dimensional tiers now. Yeah. Okay, so it actually gave me 500. And there we go, 1,000. I was worried that it wasn't gonna make me the full bucket. So yeah, now I actually have a bucket of dimensional tiers. Huh, I guess you're not able to fill bottles with this. Alright, it's not gonna look as clean as I wanted it to initially, but theoretically this will work. What I've done is I've just made the pipes go into a spout here, which will then be full of dimensional tiers. And then if I want some bottles of dimensional tiers, put my bottles here, and boom. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know why you can't just take it directly out of the basin, but this is an alternative, and you know, it works fine. Anyway, I want to go ahead and explain a little bit how this works, because I did kind of just throw all this mess together. And just be like, okay, it works now. Whenever we put all of the supplying items into the barrel, it goes along this belt, and then these funnels are just filtering all of the items into where they need to go. So this barrel is the fuel for coal, which fuels the making of the lead, the molten lead. And then this one is where the blaze tarts go to fuel the blaze burner for the dimensional tiers, because it needs to be superheated, which requires the blaze tarts. And these mechanical arms are the ones actually taking that fuel and putting it into the blaze burners. Okay, so that's those two. Then these two funnels. This one is putting the lead into here to be smelted, I guess, into molten lead. Any of the stuff that we need to make dimensional tiers goes through this funnel and, you know, is combined with the molten lead to make dimensional tiers, and then it's taken out by this pipe. Like I said, there is going to be a problem with, oh, I can't just chuck a bunch of resources in, because if I do, it's just going to burn through all the fuel, all the coal and blaze tarts. So I need to decide on if I want a lever to manually deactivate this, or if I want to make a system to automatically detect when no more dimensional tiers is being made. And I really want to go with the automatic approach, because obviously it's just much cooler. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start working on that. I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to figure something out. So what's up is I have zero clue if this is going to work, what I've actually added in. First off, I completely forgot to use the fluid tanks. You might have noticed that. I put this fluid tank here, and the intent was to fill it with dimensional tiers before it went up to here as like an extra storage. And so I went ahead and I fixed that. So now we have a little bit more of a mess going on back here. We have pipes going along here so that we can get the dimensional tiers piped into here first, and then it gets piped out by this pump into, you know, where it goes. And of course there's a hole right here, as you can see, to the sky. I'm gonna do something to cover it up, so it's not a big deal. Same with the fact that I have this threshold switch here. I'm gonna cover it up. And that's actually the next thing I want to mention. To make it so it'll automatically turn off, I've actually gone ahead and put in a threshold switch on this fluid tank. Whenever this tank is 80% full of dimensional tiers, it's just going to shut off. It's going to flip this redstone connector on, which then powers this clutch. And when the clutch is powered, it just disables all of it. That's the idea of it. So maybe we should put it to the test. Alright, so it's time to just hope this works, I guess. I've got a lot of powdered obsidian. We'll just go ahead and put a full stack in there. I guess I'll have to sit and wait for that to come out. I guess that's a downside of making the belt move so slow. Ah, that's something I didn't really think about. It can max out on each material. That's actually a big deal with what I'm trying to do here, because that means I can't just shove in a bunch of resources, because the belt is going to limit it. I do have an idea. It's just going to be a little bit of work, because I'm going to have to do a little bit of redesigning this. Alright. I don't know how much you guys appreciate these updates. I don't know how much you want to see what's going on. I don't know how much you even understand what's going on. But what I've actually decided to do, so for these barrels, they already existed. I don't really have to worry about, like these, they were already being affected by the mechanical arms. It's really just these two funnels that were going directly into a basin without much like backlog storage space or whatever. You can only put like 16 powdered obsidian in here before it starts like backing up the belt. So I need storage space for them. So I've made storage space for, we got, dang, what is this? I don't even remember. Oh, this is for the lead. And then we got powdered obsidian and an exopearl. And then what I'll do is I'll just place 3 depots over here and the mechanical arm right here. It's just going to, this is the one that grabs for the blaze tarts and stuff and fuels the blaze burner. But I'll just give it another job. So that mechanical arm will also take from these depots and supply these 2 basins with them. So let's go ahead and just throw in a bunch of powdered obsidian. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I forgot to put in a chute. And this is actually going to make the items go down onto the belt so much quicker. You know how earlier it was going really slow? Well, now the items will be put in a lot quicker, 16 at a time. So we just throw in all of our powdered obsidian and it's all going to end up in this barrel and it's going to end up on this depot. And you're going to see that the mechanical arm is actually grabbing each of those and putting those into the basin. So now I'm going to throw in the exopearls and we're going to see it'll start taking the exopearls. There we go. And then what else do we need? We need to throw in lead, don't we? We need to put our lead in. And you're going to see that that gets output as well. And grabbed by the mechanical arm and thrown into the lead burner. I want to actually configure the threshold switch to be even lower, just so that we can make sure this is actually working. Oh, I lowered the belt, so actually the blaze tarts and coal is actually just getting stuck down here. I think what I'm going to end up doing is just lowering the barrels and funnels on these as well. Okay, so now I've lowered the barrels. So this one was lowered, and then this one I had to move to here. Let's go ahead and put in some blaze tarts. Let's put in some coal and let's see how this goes. I'm going to be watching the threshold switch. We're going to see if whenever it goes over, if it's going to flip off. It's almost at 10%, right? Has it shut off yet? I think it might have. Yeah, okay, it actually shut off. So as you can see, this little icon has switched over to the bottom, which means it's activated. And it means it's activated the redstone connector here, which activated the clutch, which disabled the whole system. And as you can see, we still have our blaze tart here. Whenever this blaze burner extinguishes, it's not going to be grabbing another piece of coal, which is exactly what I want. As you can see, it's extinguished and it's not grabbing any more coal. And yeah, everything's frozen. And also just pretend that this is full of dimensional tiers. I just have it really low just to make sure it worked because I do not have all the materials. I think I'm really low on lead, and that was the biggest issue. Now, of course, we want it to activate again, right? So what I'm going to do, I'll take some bottles, and let's just do like 4. And we're going to make some dimensional tiers. And after a certain amount, oh, you know what? This dimensional tiers needs to get pumped out of this fluid tank, regardless of if the machine is actually turned off or not. Okay, I might have actually done it. Let me actually take another look. But yeah, as you can see, everything is off except for the pumps. So theoretically, this should be working. I know every time I say that, it tends to not work. But now we're really close to it moving back up to the upper lane. So let me go ahead and just take a few more bottles, put them up here, and then we should see the threshold switch. Yep, switch up. And now everything is activated again. So we should see that we start making more dimensional tiers. Right now we're at 500. Are we going to make any more? I don't know how much material we had. Oh, we did make more. And yeah, so then it would just go through the whole loop of it's making more dimensional tiers. Then it gets full, so it stops the machines. And then we take some dimensional tiers from the farm, and then it runs out of dimensional tiers, so it makes more. It's just going to be that endless loop, and we can just go ahead and open this barrel at any time to just supply more resources. We don't have to ever worry about running out of dimensional tiers again. Now that everything is set up, all I really have to do is just gather the resources and then just put it in that barrel, and then we have more dimensional tiers again. Anyway, that's probably been the majority of the episode, just me working on the dimensional tiers building, I guess. But I'm happy with the progress we made. We got lava and the dimensional tiers in here, easily accessible. You know what? There's an Enderman right there. I gotta take advantage of this moment, and we've gotta kill it with a golden knife. I have strength, so I'm just gonna go ahead and see how much damage I'm gonna do here. Two-shot it with a golden knife. Oh my goodness. And he dropped me 2 extra pearls. Thank you. Anyway, I have something else I want to work on real quick because when I built my house, I was like, you know what? This is great. It's a nice open area. That's what I want. Just a nice open area because I like open spaces. But honestly, I feel like the interior of this house isn't as great as it could be. I have actually like made it look a little bit better recently with the kitchen area right here, but I don't actually like how open it is. I want it to be kind of segmented, like divided into a couple of rooms and stuff and just have a better interior. So I want to just go ahead and work on it a little bit. Alright, so I've done a little bit of work to the interior of the house. Not much. I'm just going to show you guys what I have done. I've added a new section here, similar to the kitchen, and I've also just worked on the kitchen a little bit. As you can see, we have a hammer here as well, so if I ever need to crush something on the cutting board, we can do that as well. And yeah, things were moved around just a little bit. And then we have this new area, which is kind of just like I don't really know what you would call this area, but it just has like all of the workstations, I guess. So I made this little room, and then over here, this is just the storage area, and I've moved the ladder from them being like hanging down to be over here. Also, I do need some light in here now that I realize it. Yeah, we can come up here, and I've just made this area a little bit nicer. We have a little table and a chair, and I'm gonna put some more chests in later, but we have some chests. I actually dyed my bed blue now, and I put a little bit of carpet, and I moved my photo from downstairs to up here. This is the photo Luca gave me a while ago. So yeah, it's a little more homey. I might do a little more upgrades later on, but I'm happy with what I've done today. Also really like how when I look through that window, you can see like that little room. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's kind of similar with the kitchen on the other side, but over here you can just see straight through. And you can see the old factory and like how it looks with distant horizons. You can see the bridge. Oh, it's really funny. Anyway, that is all the time I have for this episode, but I do hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.